Please welcome our superhero sponsor, Ingram Micro, with their super team, Mathew Batterbee, a global senior business development manager, and Peter Wolf, president, also known as the Flash of Azamba Consulting Group. Today, they'll be conquering the villains of CRM in their session and how they save the day one villain at a time. Please stick around after their session for a live Q&A.
Hello and welcome to this DynamicsCon session where we're going to be taking a look at how to conquer the villains of CRM. There are lots of villains lurking out there around every corner, aiming to take over your CRM projects and burn them to the ground. But in this session, we're going to show you how to conquer those villains and leave them dusted. I will just say before we move on, a huge thank you to DynamicsCon for putting on an awesome event and allowing us to sponsor it 2 years running. It's absolutely incredible. And for everyone joining the session, please use the chat window. We want this to be as engaging as possible. But first, to introduce myself, for anyone who didn't join my session last year, I am Mathew Batterbee, the god of partner growth, son of Stephen, and from the Ingram Micro Cloud realm, where I lead on the development of our programs and strategies, enabling all of our partners of the realm to grow and develop beyond belief, growing faster than any of the other realms in the world. I've even spent time undercover in the realm of Microsoft, and I've used my time there well, so we can enable our partners at the very best, using the very best resources from Microsoft and the very best resources from the Ingram Micro Cloud realms, enabling our partners to do so much more, so much faster, and so much easier. But in all seriousness, real introduction now. I am Mathew Batterbee, and I'm part of the global portfolio management team at Ingram Micro Cloud, leading the Dynamics 365 side of things, so driving the channel and partner growth in all of our markets globally. And as an ex-Microsoft employee, I do make sure that we're using the great resources available through Microsoft, things like the CED and the consultancy hours, as well as the resources that we have at Ingram Micro Cloud, like our programs, like our community, to make sure that we're enabling partners to grow and develop. That's why I'm going all out with this god of partner growth. You can see I'm wearing the 4 t-shirt and everything for this one. But for every hero, we do need villains. So the villains that I am taking on in this session are the CRM 4. But I'm not going to be alone on this one. I am actually joined by someone.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Matt, for that introduction, that segue. My name is Peter Wolf. I'm the president of Azamba Consulting Group. I've been working with CRM for 20 years and have helped over 400 organizations implement CRM. I've seen and fought off these villains of good CRM implementation in the past. I use my skills to quickly help businesses get a return on investment with their CRM. For today, I am the Flash. And I've also got a t-shirt. I don't know if everyone can see it.
That's it. We are going all out for this session. We always like to do this for DynamicsCon. So first of all, we need to actually meet this villain team up and who they are. And as you can see there at the bottom, no, we don't care about the universes. We're crossing the streams with our characters in this one to team up. So the first villain that we're going after is who we're calling Miss Magic. And Miss Magic is all about making users believe that CRM is simple and easy to install and adopt. She makes them believe that they can do it in no time at all, and she forces them to have no respect at all for the time it's going to take to build new habits around CRM. She makes businesses think that it's just a case of switching it on like a light switch and all will be fine, only to have it fail on the user.
Next up is Confusion Clown. Confusion Clown makes people go forward with no focus on the CRM adoption path to success. They make people believe there's no need to worry about how things will actually be done in CRM, how goals will be met. They trick people into thinking CRM is just technology. That's Confusion Clown for you.
And then next up, we have Wronghead Ricky. Well, this villain sits in the shadows, lurking and whispering to the users at the very beginning of a CRM project. He tells users to focus on only management goals and is always looking over the shoulder of the users. And Wronghead Ricky is also responsible for the person in your tech people's ears, trying to convince them that they can pick one solution to solve every problem the business has with very little effort. That's Wronghead Ricky for you.
Oh, he's horrible. Next up is my most dreaded nemesis, Dr. Do More. Dr. Do More makes people want to do more with less. No budget, no guidance, no assistance. And if one idea is good, Dr. Do More wants to hear and implement 100 ideas. Dr. Do More wants everyone to get everyone's feedback, make sure every idea is discussed to death until the project stalls out with analysis paralysis and no progress is made. That's Dr. Do More.
So they are the CRM4. They're the villains that we're going up against. But let's face it, that's what me and the Flash do best. They are tricky villains to conquer, but we can beat them, and that's what we're going to do in this session. We're going to take them down one by one. We're going to go through showing you just how to overcome these villains and continue to grow and develop in the realm of Dynamics 365. So the first villain we're going up against is Miss Magic. So again, she tries to make it seem that it can be even simple, even when it's a long and painful process. But CRM doesn't really have to be a long and painful process. It's never going to be easy, but we can simplify it. We don't have to have it as painful and as long drawn out. And we can make sure that the customer and the partner doing the implementation is well looked after. As you can see, these resources that we have, these bullet points you have on screen, they've knocked Miss Magic right out of the slide. So just to really highlight these, and then I'll hand over to the Flash just to talk more around these points. Fully supported sales process. These are the sort of things you're going to get when you team up with the God of Partner Growth and the Flash. We keep track of the goals with you to ensure that you have everything you need to succeed. The distractions, they are snapped away. Training's provided as well to improve that user adoption. And we assemble even more heroes as needed for the best experience. I've mentioned the Dynamics 365 community that we have at Ingram Micro Cloud. I'll come on to that a bit more towards the end, but we are always here for you. We are a team, and we just make sure that every partner is well supported. So I'm going to hand over to the Flash to talk more around how he overcomes Miss Magic in his own instances.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I really think that Miss Magic does sometimes oversimplify things. We can't ever forget how hard it is for people to change their habits. And even the best technology in the world, you still need people. You still are dealing with people who have been doing things a certain way, possibly for decades. And so to ask them to change, you have to respect that and really make it easy for them to learn and adapt to the system and the changes you're asking of them. The other thing you have to watch for is Miss Magic makes you think that CRM is a destination. Once you turn it on, you're going to be done. The truth is CRM is it's very easy to fall out of good habits with CRM. So you need to keep an eye on that, be vigilant, make sure that someone is in charge of it. We'll cover that in the next slide, but you definitely want to make sure that you understand that CRM is just the start of your journey. Once you put the new system in, you're going to build off of that in layers, and successfully you're going to get stronger and stronger with CRM at the heart of your business. And so that's one of the tricks to defeating Miss Magic.
Perfect. That's one villain knocked out. So on to the next villain, Confusion Clown. And Project Champion to the rescue, swinging in to support. The Flash did allude to this on the previous slides. I'm going to hand over back to the Flash to talk more around how a Project Champion can really enable your CRM project even faster, even better.
Yeah, the Project Champion is really essential to defeating these villains of CRM failure. The Project Champion is the person at the company, at the organization, who's going to be in charge of making sure people are taking it seriously, people are following the training. If people have problems, if they're stalling out, they raise those issues, they raise those concerns and complaints. The CRM champion, the Project Champion, is going to make sure that your people are doing what they're supposed to be building those new habits. If you don't have a Project Champion, you are in for some problems, and those villains might just overwhelm you. A good Project Champion will have authority to either tell people what to do to pay attention, or at least to raise the boss's attention to say, hey, these folks aren't really cooperating with our rollout. So the project champion has that authority. They also should have time. So a lot of times I've seen companies think, well, maybe our VP of sales should be the project champion. That usually doesn't work out because your VP of sales objective is to increase revenue for your business. The project champion needs time to work on the system, work with the people to use the system and to improve the system, iterate it and evolve it. And so they need the time to do those things. So the VP of sales usually isn't the best fit for your company. If you have questions about who would be a good project champion, feel free to use the chat and we'll answer those as we're going through here. And then at the end, we have more time.
But the project champion isn't the only person on hand to help. And this is where we can defeat Wronghead Ricky. So yeah, the project champion definitely there, but there is someone else, the success coach. So again, I'm just going to hand back to the Flash to talk more around the success coach and how they're enabling better CRM projects.
Oh yeah, the Wronghead Ricky gets people off to a bad start. He is out there whispering in your ear, giving you bad ideas about CRM. The success coach is someone on our team on the consulting side who's going to help advise you, coach you. Just like you wouldn't try to scale Mount Everest without a guide, the success coach is your guide. The success coach is going to help you evaluate choices, decide what should be a priority for your implementation, what things should be saved for phase 2. They'll give you options. They'll give you training. They're going to give you the best advice possible that will fit your business to make sure that you focus on the important things. It all starts with a crawl, walk, run philosophy. And you'll hear some of these things echoed throughout this presentation, but good CRM isn't going to overwhelm your people and drown your people with too much. You're going to start simply with that minimum viable product, that minimum valuable product, MVP, you may have heard of it, and you're going to grow from there. And that's kind of how the success coach is going to help you keep on the straight and narrow.
Brilliant. Yeah, the crawl, walk, run, swing approach in this.
Absolutely.
And then the last villain that we're taking on, Dr. Dumore. It's not just about the one that we have really got this covered. And I will hand on to the Flash as well to talk more around this. But what I am going to say right from the start, I've mentioned this Dynamics community that we have that's really enabling our partners to achieve even more. Let's call them the accelerators. And we are defeating these villains as a community. We really are. And it's not just Dynamics opportunities as well. We're, enabling our accelerators to work together. It could be a CRM opportunity with Power BI, and one partner doesn't have the capabilities from a Power BI standpoint. We're enabling these partners to work together in this Dynamics community that we've created. So we really are ensuring that our partners have the best of everything to really overcome these villains. And even added solutions as well. We've created our own Dynamics 365 ISV marketplace. So you as a partner, you can add your ISV solutions and services into that marketplace, and we can help you attract in more customers. And you as an end customer, there are more solutions out there to enable you to have the right CRM system for your business and how it can really work for you with the best solutions that are out of this world. But I think I am just going to hand over to the Flash to talk around this last villain, the most hated villain of all, Dr. Dumore, and how you have overcome this villain yourself.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, I really do believe Dr. Dumore is one of the worst villains because he's the one who not only is asking you to do more, he's also telling you to do it on your own, and you can carry that load on your own. But as you said so rightly, it's very hard to be an expert at everything these days. And like my team, we focus on CRM. That's all we do is eat, sleep, and breathe CRM. And so we kind of really know our lane and we know how to do it well. But so many people out there think that they could just turn on CRM and be successful. And what's worse is there's this appetite because people get CRM to resolve common business challenges, the pressure of responding faster to customers, improve customer retention, break down silos in their own businesses. And so there's this pressure that we want to do everything at once. And I see all too often, I'll talk to a customer and they're coming from spreadsheets and Outlook, and they'll want to put 100 fields on a screen to start tracking all these great fields and these values and this information so they can slice and dice up their customer list and get really precise demographics because they've been starving with no data, no insights for so long. That's Dr. Dumore whispering insidiously to them. And a lot of these villains, they have the same answer, which is have someone strong in charge on your team, project champion. You want to have someone strong in charge on the consulting team, the success coach. And then you're going to want to develop that process of crawl, walk, run. Don't do too much. Start simple, get a return on investment. And then the other key piece of that is not that is not the end. You want to develop a culture of iteration, of constant improvement. And one of the things that we've seen over and over, and I'm sure some of you out there are struggling with CRM or you've seen this before, the CRM projects can go south because people just start complaining. They start muttering under their breath. They start not putting their calls and their sales pipeline in CRM. They get together and they complain over cocktails about how bad CRM is. Well, what you want to do is capture those complaints because most of those complaints are valid complaints, and you have to understand that your salespeople on the front line, when you're asking them to use this tool, if it's not going to be successful for them, you're going to have nothing but problems. So you want to capture those complaints and then show them on a regular schedule, hey, we're going to keep improving this thing. It's not done. You're not stuck with what it looks like today. Raise your issues in a productive, constructive way. I like people to think about it almost like an employee suggestion box. So let the Flash and the superheroes, the accelerators know what the complaints are so you can bring different tools to play, switch some things around, maybe reduce some functionality and complexity so that your users are happy. Not only do they get happy when you do those things, if you build up a culture of constant improvement, your people know that it's not management against the salespeople or the frontline people. We're all in it together to improve the relationship and the response rates to those customers. And I don't know what you're seeing out there, Matt, but that to me is like the biggest thing is we're all in this together. And so many people try to implement CRM. And the reason why this CRM4 get under the skin of so many people and cause failures with CRM is because sometimes the management and the sales users get divided on that. So you want to make sure you're all one happy team.
So together we really are overcoming some of the common failures that we are seeing time and time again when it comes to CRM deployment. So as these are popping up on screen now, I really want you to have a look at these and see, are these things that you've encountered? And we're just going to run through some of these and talk about how we're really overcoming some of these issues that we have seen in a lot of CRM deployments. And I will just hand this over to the Flash really quickly and say, are any of these really standing out to you that you want to cover off to start with?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm really interested if people want to put in the chat any that they're not seeing here, that they're struggling with currently, or that they've heard about or had a past iteration with CRM that they've seen go south. But I think these are all pretty much spot on. One of the things that's kind of buried within all of these is the idea of CRM as a silver bullet that's just going to magically take care of all your needs without any kind of consideration. I see that all too often. I have plenty of prospects that come to me and say, I want to get Dynamics 365. This is a great solution. And then they're shocked when I tell them that they should expect to have some guidance and coaching. And so, Matt, as you know, it's like, that's what I sell really is successful outcomes with CRM. So I do face that a lot. And a lot of these, what would you call these explosions, these POW signs kind of fit into that. The no training, insufficient budget, no roadmap, wrong guidance, lack of business outcome focus, all of these things kind of all around that one idea. Are there any that stand out for you?
Yeah, I think one in particular, I'd say too many cooks. I think that one really stands out for me. And I think it really highlights the importance of, a project champion, a success coach. But yeah, I think too many people, too many cooks, there's too many people having their input. And again, it's going back to some of the villains that we talked about before, where you're trying to do every single idea that crops up, which is going to massively overcomplicate that entire CRM project. So I think too many cooks really stands out for me, as well as, I know you've already mentioned it, but no roadmap. And then another one that is really screaming out at me is poor integration. I think it's one of the great advantages of Dynamics 365 over other CRM solutions, especially obviously when the user is already using Microsoft 365. But the fact that the integration, or I don't even know if integration is the right word. It's embedded with Microsoft 365, using Dynamics 365 right from within Teams, for example. I think that really stands out for me. And I'd say a lot of that stands out for me because before my time at Microsoft, I was using some poor CRM systems. And I'm guilty of working for a startup company where we used Excel as a CRM system, where there's no integration with anything apart from the formulas that I could build. So yeah, they're some of the ones that really scream out to me.
Yeah, kind of riffing off your idea, if you don't mind, like the integration with all of the Microsoft tools. Like I always tell people, look, let's not kid ourselves. Salespeople love to live inside of Outlook, and the Microsoft Dynamics integration with Outlook is so tight that your salespeople technically can live mostly inside of Outlook and still do their job, but they can also have the benefit of feeding the information into Dynamics, so the whole team benefits. You have that structured capture of information. You can have the automated follow-ups and the reminders that trigger from that tracking, and everyone's on the same page. That leads to solving some of the problems like lack of adoption, because if you make it easier for your users to use the tool in the way that they want to use it, instead of forcing them to always go to the CRM system, and you make it kind of a punishment in a way, letting them use Outlook to do their jobs like they normally do, you're making it easy for them, and that helps solve the adoption.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think with that, I always, one that's really standing out for me as well is the culture change difficulties. And I think the perfect example of this I've got is when we first, in a company I worked for many years ago, we first started using Microsoft Teams. And we were for months and months and months still getting the kind of emails that would be a message in Teams now. Emails about absolutely nothing, clogging up your inbox. Whereas now it'd just be a message in Teams. And that kind of culture is obviously, at Ingram, we're always in Teams. I use it more than I do Outlook, probably, me personally. But yeah, those culture change difficulties. And I know more and more businesses are using Teams now. It's just an example. But yeah, I definitely think, there's always going to be people, and their kind of go-to saying is, well, we've done it like that for 10 years, so it must be the right way. And I think overcoming those is definitely something that, we've done that really well in enabling end customers and enabling partners to adopt to Dynamics better. And I think that one is something that stands out for me because I've heard these kind of people that say these kind of phrases many, many times. So I think overcoming that is a big one.
Another one that we mentioned during the other slides, we were talking about defeating the CRM4, is CRM doesn't end when you turn it on. In fact, in my experience, it's just getting started. And anecdotally, I just ran into a customer who we helped many, many years ago, and I asked him how things were going, and he said, we gave up on CRM. And I said, well, what happened? He said, well, you guys knocked it out of the park. You helped us get up and running, but then we turned away your long-term help, your guidance, with kind of a coaching plan. And we kind of just did it on our own. And we didn't want to call you because we didn't want to, get the consulting bill coming in. But in the end, our dissatisfaction just grew so fast with little things, and they started just piling up. And before you know it, we weren't using it anymore. And so the culture thing that you just mentioned is huge. You can't underestimate people's habits and how long it takes to change habits, even if it's for the better, even if we all agree CRM is going to make our lives better. And let's just say I'm a salesperson that gets paid on some portion of commissions for my compensation plan. Even if I can say this CRM is going to be amazing to me, I still have to change my habits. And that is really hard, and it should not be underestimated.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one that I'm going to call out is that lack of business outcome focus. And I'm going to talk about this from two ways, really. One is the partner. I think, there's still many partners out there that don't approach a Dynamics conversation in that business-led. It's very much a tech-led conversation, which to me is the wrong way to go about it. It needs to be a business-led conversation. At the end of the day, a CRM solution. And again, I'm talking to someone that used Excel as a CRM solution for quite a lot of time. And, you know, when we first got a CRM system that wasn't Excel, it was having the problems that we were facing using Excel as a CRM that was amazing. And I think that's how, you know, you need to approach these customers, is talk about their business, understand their business, make sure that we are understanding their problems that they're facing. If they still got paper-based processes, you know, what's taking them the longest? Are their sales team or any team within their business, are they as proactive and productive as they could be? Is the business using the data, you know, to benefit them better? Is it helping them with their forecasting and all these different things? I think if we go in at this from a business focus conversation is really important, but that's just as important for the end customer. You know, I've attended a lot of meetings with end customers where they don't really know. They haven't really thought about it up to this point, you know, what their problems are. And I think, you know, as an end customer, understanding that actually, what are the problems and what do we need to overcome? What do we want our CRM system to help us overcome is really important. So that one also, I mean, it's front and center there, it's up in the middle, but it really did stand out for me as something that is massively important in helping right from the beginning understand, you know, is Dynamics right for them, you know, and how is it right for them as well? Not just Dynamics is the answer, it's understanding those problems to get to that point.
Man, you raised so many good points. I'm just going to riff on this. I know we probably need to move on after this, but one of the challenges that we've learned, we've helped hundreds and hundreds of customers, and I've talked to thousands of customers over the last 10 years about their CRM projects. And one of the things that we've learned is you need a methodology, you need a plan, you need the tools to help you succeed with it. Otherwise, you will just wander around aimlessly. And a lot of people, and I see, unfortunately, even consulting firms that specialize in CRM will treat each customer as unique and try to elicit every last requirement from those customers. And they will just create these project plans that take like multiple years to implement CRM. It's completely the opposite of the way the Ingram approach is with Azamba, which is crawl, walk, run. And I know we've said that a couple of times, but it is so essential that people understand that when you make an investment like this, keep it tight, keep the scope tight, keep the outcome in focus. Make sure that you don't try to focus on 4 different outcomes. Just focus on one at first and just roll it out, get a return on your investment, and then iterate. And remember, it's not done, and it's not going to be put on the shelf and that's it, you're done. You're going to iterate. You're going to add to it as your business needs change and evolve. And as you have more time, as you absorb the changes with your culture, then you're going to change it some more. And it's a constant state of improvement. And that's what it's really all about.
Yeah, definitely. So you alluded to our partnership and what we can do to overcome these common failures. So what do we actually do? Well, we are snapping them away with our Dynamics 365 Accelerate program. We're a community at the end of the day, and I've talked about this, and I'm going to really highlight this, but we have created a Dynamics 365 global community of partners, and not just Dynamics, but also the Power Platform as well, really enabling all of our resellers to essentially never turn down an opportunity, but always have somewhere to raise concerns, raise questions, really speak to experts in all these different fields, all these different industries, all these different solutions, you know, not just CRM, but also ERP, also Power Platform, as I mentioned. And it's really important that this community to us is still doing that. So I think, you know, if you are a partner and you are watching this and you're interested in learning a little bit more about our community, feel free to ask questions and we'll talk more about it in the Q&A. But it's definitely something that is benefiting a lot of our partners globally, and something that we want to continue to help partners grow and develop their practice. So that is a big way for us to overcome these villains as a team, as the accelerators, as I called us before. So what I want to do just to kind of finish this off from an Ingram microcloud perspective is really just let's finish off these villains for good and talk about some of the key benefits of working with us, partnering with us to help us grow your Dynamics practice. The first one I'm going to call out, because I do like to brag, we were indirect provider of the year 2020. So we really like to consider ourselves, top best of the best. And that's not just by what we can do for Dynamics, but also the Power Platform, also Azure, and also Microsoft 365. We won that award because of what we do across all Microsoft clouds and how we're enabling partners to grow faster than the channel average across all these clouds. So it really is a powerful message that we can put out there. So I love to start with that one. As I mentioned with our community, we're enabling partners to never turn down a Dynamics opportunity. As an Ingram Micro partner, you get support from cloud growth specialists in all Microsoft areas. As I mentioned, it's not just about the Dynamics there, it's about everything. Although I'm incredibly selfish and like to keep it focused on Dynamics. As I mentioned earlier, we are really enabling partners with the very best of Microsoft and the very best of Ingram for better success. There's some great resources and tools that we've created, like our Dynamics 365 partner guide. It's like a one-stop shop for Dynamics. We're always doing sessions and, for example, release wave updates and everything. We've created a community where we're sharing all this as well. But we use the best of Microsoft, as I mentioned, things like the CED, things like the starter kit consultations, the marketing resources that are available, all these resources that really do go underutilized from Microsoft partners, potentially thinking they're an indirect partner and they don't have access to these things. And they do. There is so much available. And we just make sure that you get the best of both so you can grow faster and have more resources to hopefully save you time and money in going to market and getting more customers. So I've already mentioned that, the best resources and tools. And we do have the most established Dynamics 365 program in the universe. And believe me, I've been to all the realms, and Ingram's is the best one. So as a Microsoft partner, hopefully you're asking yourselves one question. Well, I've got one final question. What are you waiting for? Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what we can do to enable you to grow your Dynamics practice much faster and with much more focus as well and much more support.
And if you don't mind, Matt, I'd like to just throw in here too, if you've heard about these villains and they've got you worried, I think Matt's already summed it up real nicely, but that's what this program's all about, is to make sure that things go smoothly for you. So a lot of partners have come to us, they don't even know how to spell CRM or ERP, but the Ingram Micro program will help you get up and running, help your customers be successful, make sure that it all goes smooth for you. It's your customer at the end of the day. We're just here to support you and help you and make sure that they're successful. And if there are customers on this presentation as well, definitely hope you saw some ideas here on how to turn around your own implementation if you're struggling. There's just some common refrains that we talked about over and over. Again, hopefully they will help you turn around your program. You can reach out to either of us at any time.
Yeah, and on that as well, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. Constantly putting new material out there, blogs, videos, all sorts of content, sharing some great content just on our social medias. So feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. We've got the QR code up there. And I think I'm just going to kind of close out with a massive thank you again to DynamicsCon. I love doing this event. It gives me the best opportunity to be a massive geek and wear a 4 t-shirt and present something a little bit different and present something a little bit of fun, but hopefully you've learned something. You've learned about Ingram, you've learned about Zomba, you've learned what we're doing and to really overcome a lot of these villains, as we're calling them. But hopefully you've also got some questions. Fill in, there's the Q&A that we're going to go into now. But also feel free to reach out to us. There's our LinkedIn. You can feel free to email us, contact us. We want to talk and we want to enable more partners. So get in touch with us. But yeah, just going to close out a huge thank you to DynamicsCon because I love doing this. It's probably my favorite one.
Yeah. And thanks, Matt, for allowing me to participate with you here. I had a lot of fun. And thanks again to DynamicsCon. It is really nice.
Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the session. First thing I'm going to point out, as Peter has said in the chat, that I like to show off my cool t-shirts. I'm going to show off my cool hoodie as well, which is a DynamicsCon hoodie. I have to show that off. Thank you all for joining that session. We had a lot of fun putting that together and a lot of fun presenting it. I am joined by the Flash as well.
What do you think, Matt?
Friends from work.
I run from work.
Oh, it's brilliant. I can see. Yeah, thank you, Liz. I love doing this event. It's so much fun. I always have to do the normal presentations, and for this one, I get to do something a little bit crazy, which is great. We're already talking about next year. We're thinking we need to do a team-up movie, and it's going to be more of us. So, let's get a few more heads in the chat window. Are there any questions that are following this session? It's been good fun.
You know what's funny, Matt, is how fast we covered all that material, and we could have probably taken a little bit longer. We were like the challenge that we both have is we both get so excited about talk about this stuff that we talk a mile a minute. So if anybody has questions, definitely we can decompress and answer those questions here. So we kind of rushed through all that, but there are a lot of reasons why CRM fails, but there are a lot of ways to make it successful. And we've done hundreds of these implementations. So learn from us here at the Ingram Micro team, the Azaba team. We're here to help.
Yeah, definitely. I mentioned about our Dynamics community during that session as well, and it's crazy how I think we recorded that session, what was it, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. And that community evolved massively. If I was talking about it a few weeks ago, there was a couple of hundred partners. It was going really well. We're now up to, over 500 partners joining that community Teams channel. We're sharing great content around, for example, Microsoft Ignite. We run a Power Platform workshop last week for our members. That was really well received. We've got SMB workshops running as well over the next few months. So there's just so much going on in that. So again, there's a lot more that we can go into more detail on. So one thing I will say, there seems to be, and there's a lot of love for hoodies. If you want a free hoodie, go to our Ingram Micro Cloud booth, and if you can turn a great MCU, DCEU, or comic book quote into a BizApps quote, there's a chance you can get sent a free hoodie when we catch up. So yeah, go and turn. The one I've seen in there so far is Power Platform Smash. I think we can do better. I think there's better quotes out there. So yeah, go and put in a quote and let's have some fun.
So Matt, Zach had a question here. When approaching an end customer, do you find it best to get them sold on the user interface of Dynamics or integrations with the rest of O365? I will say for all of you who are using Dynamics, you probably know this as well as we do, but the biggest strength of Dynamics is the fact that it's integrated with other tools. So I always tell people as part of adoption, you can work in the tool that you want to work in. So I'm in Outlook all day. I'm a sales guy, so I'm in Outlook all day long. But I can still file things to CRM just with that little Dynamics panel. That's awesome. My team is in Teams all day long, but they still can pull up their Dynamics data inside of Teams, so they get the best of both worlds. So when you ask about which interface we focus on, we actually focus on both of them with the intention that live in the tool that serves you best, but still do it with the intention of filing information into CRM at the end of the day. I hope that helps.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, hopefully people saw the updates from Microsoft Ignite and the more and more Teams integrations come into Dynamics. And I think it's definitely a good place to put some focus around those Teams integrations. I think I mentioned it during my session, but like if I went to work for a company now, and just in case my boss is watching this, I am not thinking of leaving Ingram Micro Cloud. But if I was to go, if they didn't use Microsoft Teams, that'd be like end the interview now kind of conversation. So it's really good to, those people that are using Microsoft Teams already, it's definitely worth highlighting those integrations. I think would be a good place to put some focus in that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's so powerful to have that. Like for me, the better together message is so strong with Microsoft right now, and it just keeps getting stronger. To your point, Matt, like they just keep crushing it with the R&D that they're investing in, creating the integrations even better. Someone just put in the chat, we're going to be able to see Teams within CRM soon. Yeah, I've been dying for that. We live and die by Teams over here, so I personally am looking forward to that. Like Microsoft is just this massive engine that just keeps making Dynamics better and better and better. The key thing at the end of the day is one of the things I mentioned in the session is focus on the end users. A lot of people focus CRM on management goals, but the trick is focus on making the lives of your individual people better, because if you do that, then the management goals will be met over time. But if you focus on just what management wants, it creates a natural friction with your people. And if I'm a frontline person, I'm like, the bosses are telling me to do this. Yeah, I'll do it if I have to, right? But give me a reason to do it. Give me a reason that I say Dynamics is the best thing since sliced bread and will remind me to do things, make my life less stressful, make sure I can serve my customers better. I mean, we all want to do a good job, but we don't want to deal with tools that make our life frustrating as all get out. I mean, that's number one rule of human nature right there.
Yeah, I really like Tanya's put CRM stands for can't remember much. I like that. That made me giggle while you were talking in the chat. I really like that. Yeah. I'm probably going to steal that moving forward. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a good one.
So, Matt, Zach had another question here, if you don't mind. I'm going to jump on this one. So 30, 60, 90-day plan. So we do, any customer of mine, any prospect will probably tell you they're sick of me saying crawl, walk, run, because I do use that a lot. So the crawl phase is get up and running with Dynamics with the smallest set of functionality that still has value for you and your team. That's important. It still has to have value. It can't just be, basic contact management if that has no value to. So do that. That implementation process, we try to get through that very quickly. So within 3 to 4 weeks, a customer will be live with that basic functionality. After they go live, we have a very structured 30-day window where we do additional training, because we've learned the hard way, and I'm sure many of you on this call can agree with this. The users don't pay attention until they have to pay attention, which usually means, hey, it's live, start using it. Then all of a sudden the questions come out like, oh, Matt, how do I add a contact? I don't remember that in the training, even though that was covered 10 times. So definitely within that next 30-day window, 31 to 60, we focus on smoothing over the rough spots, is what we call it. Answering frequently asked questions, but in collaborative ways, just to ease the stress of the users. The next thing that we start doing too is, as soon as you go live, create a wish list. So create a frustration list, a wish list. I sometimes will liken it to an employee suggestion box. There will be some natural things out of the box that CRM is not great for your people. And also you're asking them to change from something they've been doing to a new system. Again, human nature 101, that's a struggle for all of us. So give them a constructive way to funnel in their complaints, their requests, their wishes. And then what you want to do is, within that 90-day time period, Zach, what I like to do is do what we call a workshop, and just take the top 5, 10 things that you can conquer in a couple days and do those things. It might just be clean up an entry form. It might be create an automation. It might be create a cool dashboard, but just improve the system. And that has 2 substantial value points. One is it takes your system to the next level and people start to get more value from it. That's the obvious thing. The more subtle thing is a psychology standpoint. You're showing your users that they don't have to suffer, and they don't need to complain to their coworkers. They don't need to act like it's a friction point between them and the goals of the company. It's something that we're all doing together, and they can see those requests, if they put them in a constructive way, will be responded to. That changes the culture of most companies. I have so many sales friends that use Salesforce and other systems, even Dynamics, and they hate it because their bosses act like they should just use it and shut up and just use the system. That's not a very constructive way to treat people, and salespeople won't use it. So what you want to do is create that constructive path to capture the complaints in a valid way. Hopefully that helps people out there. I'm sure many of you have seen those same kind of struggles that I've seen.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think, one suggestion that's come in is and in behind the scenes talking around kind of why we are where we are today, Peter, and kind of how we fell into Dynamics, or maybe we aim to be here. So I think just to kind of tell a little bit of a story around myself, and if questions come in, we can pause and we can answer those questions. So feel free to interrupt me and can ask questions, people. So before I was at Ingram, I was actually at Microsoft. So I was one of the SureStep Dynamics folks at Microsoft. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of fell into Dynamics in the sense of I was originally assigned to modern work and focused on Microsoft 365, and it was a little bit easy, I'm not gonna lie. I really wanted a challenge. And getting into Dynamics was kind of almost by accident. I kind of volunteered. I kind of put my hand up and said, I'm interested in this. And a big part that pushed me into it was in past life, before being at Microsoft, I built call centers and, worked for startup companies and built call centers. And I was managing 100 people call centers and more, and building them from the ground up. So when I talk about using Excel as a CRM system, imagine doing that for, almost 100 seat call center and stuff. So that's why I'm a big Excel geek now. I'm immortal, Peter. So yeah, that's what really drew me into Dynamics, was I knew the frustrations of using terrible CRM. So I was very CRM focused when I moved into Dynamics at Microsoft, and really wanted to get those points across to many, many partners. And I was also amazed by how many resources are out there by Microsoft. When I started looking into this, I learned loads. Within like the space of 2 weeks, I learned so much, not just about Dynamics, but resources available to partners to help them grow their practice. I loved it. I was hooked. And then after, a year of doing that at Microsoft, I was, I approached Ingram, and here I am today. So my role now, being in a global role, is absolutely incredible. I get to speak to partners from all over the world. That's why me and Peter now speak to one another, but in this global role, I'm no longer sort of bound to the UK. And it's amazing being able to support so many partners all over the world in growing their Dynamics practice, and even helping partners get started. There are so many, there's multiple routes to market. And we make sure, now we've got the Dynamics community built out that we have. The last sort of, I want to say 6 months, and I've been with Ingram now for nearly 18 months, but the past 6 months has just flown because we've just been going from strength to strength. We've, globally doubled the number of partners that are transacting Dynamics, and really supporting our modern work partners in beginning their Dynamics journey and helping those partners accelerate. So, it's been a wild ride. And then, as I say, a big part of my passion for it is I just love helping people and love helping partners. And I think a lot of that comes from, I used to actually be, and again, I'm going to go back to the term past life. I used to be a gym instructor, so that's how much my career has changed over the past sort of 10 years, maybe. Being a gym instructor and wanting to help people achieve their goals, nothing's changed. I still do that. I just do it from a comfy chair now, which is great. Peter, I'd be really interested to hear more about, let's hear your origin story, kind of how you fell to where you are.
Yeah, my origin story is I've always been an efficiency freak and a kind of like a process person, and I love data. I started off my career doing network, small business. I started doing custom development, and I was introduced to CRM back in 2000, and I was like, holy cow, I could deliver 10 times the functionality for a fraction of the cost, and someone else has taken on all the tedious stuff of creating the interfaces and security layers and things like that. So I could really focus on business solutions, which is where my passion lies. And so like after that, Matt, it was like no looking back for me. I started diving in deeper and deeper with CRM. And finally in 2004, I just converted to CRM full time. I used to do accounting and network and all this other stuff. And now it's all about CRM. And since then, I've helped over 400 SMBs get up and running successfully with CRM. So I've learned a lot of hard lessons. A lot of those things that we talked about today, those were hard won lessons. And I bloodied my nose many times with many different users. If you tell me your worst story about one of your people struggling with CRM, I probably have lived that myself with my customers. And so my real focus over the years too is I'm like the prototypical user. Like my guys will complain about the way I use CRM. So I know how users think. And so I'm pretty tuned into how my customers think. And so like that also helps me because I'm very empathetic and sympathetic to my customers. And so I'm very practical minded. And so I like to take CRM as a highfalutin concept and apply it to business goals to reach results. And to me, that's what really makes CRM valuable. I've seen too many companies slap CRM in, and then 12, 18 months later, there's no adoption. In fact, I saw it in some of the chat, some people have said that's what happened to them. I've seen it too many times. And so I just really want to take all my lessons I've learned and package it up and make it easy, these accelerators, to make it easy with the Ingram program to have a structured approach to get from here to your goals and beyond. So that's kind of my origin story.
I've just seen one of the comments. Wait, you don't follow your own best practices? Sounds very familiar.
So I do follow our best practices, but my people will sometimes have to remind me of the importance of. But I mean that's part of the best practice, right? Is you have a project champion, and just like with an accounting software, you don't let people take inventory out, just write it down on a piece of scrap paper and throw it on someone's desk. You need someone in charge of the CRM. So unruly salespeople like me are reined back in and put back on the course to successfully using it. So that's one of the number one tips that we talked about, is have a project champion internally. Don't just assume you turn it on and everyone's going to use it. That's a falsehood.
Yeah, there's a question that's just come in actually around tips on CRM projects, requirements gathering, implementations, etc., with customers who may not have a standard business process yet.
Yeah, so most of our customers are SMBs, and I will tell you, for everyone that has processes, as Matt would say, there's probably 20 that don't. So that's a very common thing. And again, it's all about why we say crawl, walk, run. A lot of times our customers don't know what they want because they don't know what it could do for them. So a lot of times we're saying, here's kind of a process in a box, start here. And then as they start to use it, that whole iterative approach, as they start to use it, they'll start to get their legs underneath them. They'll say, oh, wow, these are all the possibilities. Let's do some of this. And so it's our goal as good consultants and project champions, if you're the project champion for your team internally, is to say, okay, team, here's where we are, but now there's this cool thing. Let's sit down and talk about it for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and determine if it's for us or not, if it can help us. And if so, let's maybe investigate it further. If not, let's look at some of these other 100 things that Dynamics can do for us. There's always new things to do with Dynamics that can take your business from here to here to here and beyond. And I did say this, I believe, in the session, Matt, that that's another failing, a common failing that those villains love to see is CRM is not a destination point. It's a change in culture. It's a change in the way you do things to streamline, automate, improve your processes to give better responses to customers and prospects and vendors, so you can move faster, which is 100% a requirement in today's business model. We no longer have the luxury of giving crappy answers to our customers and prospects and taking long time to do it. You have to act quickly, or they will go to Google or Bing and find your replacement. So you got to act quickly. That's what CRM's all about.
Yeah, 100%. And we're seeing it more and more now that, because, we see Dynamics partners and they're having better conversations with their customers as well. They're we call them the solvers, the problem solvers of businesses. And they are having better conversations. And we're seeing more and more the Dynamics practices, especially the partners that we have at Ingram with the programs that we have in place, their Azure business is growing as well, and so is their modern work. It seems to be a big package, if you like, and we're seeing it more and more. These the partners are growing. They're having really great conversations with their customers, and we're being able to support. And I think that's one thing that I'm really happy about. Sorry, I was just seeing that my internet may be struggling, so I do apologize if I've got a bit funny there and people didn't hear what I said. But don't worry.
Well, I heard you. But
Okay.
Matt, can I add one more thing? Because we've got some more time, and I know people will be wanting to get on with their day. But one more thing about business processes in particular. So business processes are hard because of two reasons. One is a lot of people get stuck on, how do I put this business process in the system? I really encourage you to think about a business process away from the system. So what is our sales process? We get a lead in from the website. We do this, we do this, we do this, and then we close them. We either win it or we lose it. Think about those steps, not as how they would be set up in CRM, but first just think about those steps. And I also recommend that you think about one particular sales process at a time. So if you have website leads, if you have trade show leads, if you have people that responded to a webinar, white paper, whatever, those might be different sales processes. Do them all individually. And if they map out together, so it's one single sales process, great. But don't assume that they will, and don't confuse the situation by trying to do too much at once. Just focus on one line through and focus on that. And then you take that, you map it to CRM, because then CRM, Dynamics 365 Sales, will allow you to control those steps. They will allow you to automate those steps, and they will allow you to connect with people that aren't in the system. So if one of your stages is send a customer credit check form to customer, that can be an automation with Power Automate, that sends it out and it waits for a response. If Matt doesn't send me the response, it reminds me, hey, Peter, Matt didn't send you the response, give him a call. But so like you can do all those things, but first start with just paper and pencil and just create the flow outside of the system, then map it to the system. And before you know it, you're going to start to put these little automations and these checkpoints in place that will make CRM a lot more valuable to your sales team to make sure nothing gets missed. That's when CRM starts to take off in value for salespeople in particular, but also service people who, I don't know about your teams, but like, Matt, I know how much you do all day long. I mean, heck, it's like 2 a.m. or something there where you are, but like you're nonstop working machine. So, you know, my team's the same way. Like most people these days are work, right? And it's so many more bites on our time these days. So to have a system that delineates exactly all the steps, it frees me up from remembering where I am and the stress of all those things I'm juggling. That's beautiful. That's where CRM starts to really pay for itself. I hope that.
100%. And I think what you just said then about being work. Yeah. And I think actually the past 12 months, I mean, I haven't been to an office in 12 months. And I've probably worked harder in the last 12 months than I ever have, because it's so easy to kind of stay where I am. I've got my own office space. It's great. And you know, there are nights where my wife comes in and says, it's 1 a.m. What are you doing? It really is so easy to stay busy now and make, you know, and stay focused and kind of lose track of time when you're at home. And I've spoken with a number of businesses moving forward. Some are going to stay remote. You know, their lease is up on their office. They're not interested in continuing there. They're going to be a fully remote business. Some businesses are moving into more flexi time, or just being more flexible, basically. You know, maybe you work in the office 2 days a week, home 3 days a week, and so on. So I think more and more customers are going to need solutions that are going to enable them to be more flexible, but also enable them to be more productive and achieve more. And, you know, Dynamics done right is really going to enable them to do that. And I think with the right partners backing the wider Microsoft partner channel, that's a real strong message to go to market with. And, you know, I think, you know, just to kind of finish on a bit of an Ingram Micro Cloud point here, but I really feel that, you know, the programs and the support and everything that we provide really is next level. You know, we really do take the best of what Ingram can offer, but also the best of what Microsoft can offer. And I feel like if you're a Microsoft partner and you haven't heard of things like Cloud Ascent, business application consultancies, Cloud Enablement Desk, these kind of tools and resources that are available to you, if you've not heard of them, you're not getting the best of your Microsoft partnership. We can enable you to do that, as well as providing you with the support, people like Peter, people in our partner community, and the other resources and tools that we build in-house, like marketing tools and sales tools, to really enable you better. So I think having that real key partnership that's going to help you grow. You know, we talk about CRM systems. A good CRM system is one that's going to help you grow and grow with you. So if you're a tech provider, surely your indirect provider partner should help you grow and then should grow with you. You know, it's something we sell on a daily basis. So that, to me, is just something I thought I'd finish on. I'm being given the 1 minute warning. So I am going to finish with a massive thank you to DynamicsCon. I love this event. Count me in for next year. I absolutely love it. I've got the hoodie. Maybe I need the mug next year. Maybe I need the t-shirt. I don't know. I need more clothing from DynamicsCon. But no, thank you very much. Thank you for everyone that joined us on the session and being engaged. And it's really great. Feel free to check out our booth. And a huge thank you to Peter as well. Peter, I'll let you say thank you as well.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I just want to say thank you for inviting me on and letting me, I love talk about dynamics. I could talk about this stuff nonstop. So really thank you to Ingram Micro. Thanks to Ingram Micro for having such a great partner program and the Accelerate program is a beautiful thing. You should check it out. Stop by the booth and talk to Matt and the team more. Thank you all. Appreciate it.